There is a moment that happens in Hell's Kitchen maybe once a season. The shouting stops, the pans stop, and somewhere behind the pass, a chef decides that tonight is the night they are finally going to stand up to Gordon Ramsay. It never goes the way they think it will, because the thing about Ramsay is that he has heard it all. He has been called every name a tired line cook can invent, in about 9 languages and kitchens far more brutal than this one. So when a contestant squares their shoulders, drops their jacket, and decides to make it personal, they are not starting a fight. They are volunteering for a demolition. Some of them lasted 10 more seconds. Some of them were walked out by security. One of them asked Ramsay to step into the parking lot and then nearly fell over on his way to the door. Today, we are counting down the chefs who tried to take on Gordon Ramsay inside his own kitchen and regretted it almost immediately. Ejections, walkouts, meltdowns, and one legendary nose-to-nose showdown that the internet has never let go of. Stay to the end, because number 1 is the single most infamous exit in the entire history of this show, and the man behind it was a United States Marine. Let's get into it. Number 10, Jeff Lepoff, Season 1. Before Hell's Kitchen had a formula, before anybody knew what they were signing up for, there was Jeff. 28 years old, a finance manager by trade, which tells you almost everything you need to know about how his week was going to go on a professional line. By the 3rd service, Jeff had already been buried. The tickets were piling up, his station was drowning, and Ramsay had spent the night taking him apart in front of the entire kitchen. And Jeff, standing there in the middle of it, said the thing he absolutely should not have said. He called Ramsay an unrepeatable name under his breath. Now, if he had stopped there, nobody would remember Jeff Lepoff. But somebody heard it, and they told him to say it louder. So he did. He turned around and said it directly to Gordon Ramsay's face. What happened next made television history. Jeff pulled off his chef's jacket, threw it down, announced that he had had enough, and walked straight out of Hell's Kitchen. He had said minutes earlier that he was not a quitter. He became the first contestant in the history of the show to quit, and the first ever to do it in the middle of dinner service. Ramsay's reaction? He laughed. His exact words afterwards were that he had been called far worse than that. Number 9, Nilka Hendricks, Season 7. A 28-year-old line cook from Glen Cove, New York, who made it further than almost anyone on this list. 10 services, the final 7. She was close. And then Ramsay put both teams on one line and gave them 2.5 hours to get a full dinner service out the door. No blue kitchen, no red kitchen. 1 brigade, 1 pass, no hiding. Nilka came apart. The communication broke down. The argument started. And instead of dropping her head and pushing through, she started firing back at her teammates and at the pass. In a service where every single voice mattered, hers was the one working against the room. Ramsay does not usually eject people this deep into a season. He did that night. Nilka was thrown out in the middle of service, and what happened next is genuinely unique in the show's history. She is the only contestant ever sent to meet Gordon Ramsay at the loading dock, and when he told her she was gone, she became the first person to stand there and beg to be kept in the competition after the decision had already been announced. Ramsay's verdict was quieter than the argument that caused it. She was, he said, clearly out of her depth. Number 8, Lacey D'Angelo, Season 5. 24, a corporate buffet cook from Charlotte, North Carolina, and on paper she should have been safe. She was not on meat because she was the best meat cook in the building. She was on meat because somebody had to be. The problem was not that Lacey struggled. Everybody struggles. The problem was what happened every time Ramsay pulled her up on it. Undercooked meat went to the pass, it came back, it went again. And with every trip, the attitude got a little louder, the excuses got a little quicker, and the apology never actually arrived. There is a specific tone that ends a Hell's Kitchen run, and it is not incompetence. It is the sound of a chef arguing about a plate that is visibly raw. Ramsay will forgive a bad night. He will not forgive being told he is wrong about a piece of beef that is still cold in the middle. She was ejected in the middle of the 8th service, only the 3rd contestant in the show's history at that point to be thrown out mid-service rather than eliminated at the podium. And Ramsay clearly did not let it go, because when she came back for the final dinner service of the season, he reminded her in front of everyone exactly how she had left. Number 7, Seth Levine, Season 5. A 27-year-old private party chef from New York City. and the author of what might be the single worst attempt to hide a mistake ever committed to camera. Seth was handed a filet tenderloin, a whole one, prime beef, the most expensive protein in the building, and a job any serious cook should be able to do half asleep. What came off his board was not portioned filet, it was wreckage. And this is where Seth made his choice. He could have owned it. Instead, when Ramsay came looking for the filet, Seth quietly put the evidence in the fridge. All the butchered, wasted meat, hidden away as though the man who has run kitchens for 30 years would simply forget to open a door. Ramsay found it. He carried it out and showed the entire blue team what was left of it, then threw it at him. Giovanni, who is coming up later on this list, said people have gone to prison for less than what Seth did to that tenderloin. Then came the confession. Ramsay asked, and Seth admitted on camera, that he had never butchered a filet before in his life. He tried to argue the point. That was the mistake. You do not debate the butchery with Gordon Ramsay while the butchery is in his hand. Number 6. Jason Maxwell, known on the show as Jay Season 5. 32 years old, and his job title was food court chef, which Ramsay was never ever going to let go of. Jay's night ended before service even properly began. During prep, he burned the risotto, and not a pan of it. The rice supply in a kitchen where one dish going down can stall the entire pass. He had removed an entire station from the board before a single guest sat down. Then he went to fish, and fish finished him. The scallops came up wrong. They came up wrong again. And Jay, instead of dropping his head and resetting, started making his case. He answered back. He explained. He defended the plate. That is the moment the night turned, because Ramsay was not asking for a discussion. He was asking for a scallop. Jay was screamed off the line and told to pack his bags in the middle of dinner service, in front of the diners, in front of both teams. He was only the second contestant in the show's entire run to be ejected mid-service, and the first ever to go during the team phase. Ramsay's line afterwards has stayed with the show ever since. 7, he said, is not my lucky number. Number 5, Boris Polshuk, Season 8, 38, a catering chef from Manalapan, New Jersey, and the man who found the one thing you truly cannot do in that building. You can burn the risotto, you can send raw chicken, you can lose your station, your temper, and your composure all in one night, and Ramsay will still be standing there the next morning ready to teach you. What you cannot do is take the mickey out of him. Melissa's pizza dough came to the pass, and it was raw. Ramsay said what Ramsay says, and behind him, out of eye line, Boris repeated it back in a mocking little impression. It's raw. He thought nobody heard. Somebody heard. Ramsay took him by the ear and marched him across the floor into the red kitchen, put the dough in front of him, and made him taste it himself. Then came the part nobody laughed at, a full volume dismantling in front of both brigades about what it means to actually take this seriously, finished with a promise. Do it again, and you are off the show. Boris made it to the 8th service before he was eliminated. But that impression is the only thing anybody remembers, and it is the reason he is on this list. Number 4, Andrew Forster, Season 7. 28 years old, and unlike almost every other name here, he did not describe himself as a chef at all. He was a farmer. Instantly arrived with a story that stopped the room. He raises his own animals, he butchers his own animals, and then, he explained, he eats them raw. Ramsay listened to all of it and christened him the Hannibal Lecter of Hell's Kitchen. For about a day, Andrew was the most interesting person in the building. It lasted 2 services, because a farm is not a restaurant, and the past does not care how you feel about your ingredients. When the pressure came down on him during the second dinner service, Andrew did not absorb it. He argued back, and then, mid-service, with a full dining room waiting, he walked out. He has never really softened on it either. In interviews afterwards, he said flatly that he believed Ramsay sets contestants up to fail so he can turn it into entertainment, and that in no way, shape, or form did the man make them better cooks. Then he went home, back to the farm, and started talking about opening a restaurant of his own. Number 3, Robert Hesse, Season 6. 30 years old, an executive chef from Quogue, New York, and a man with more reason than anybody to be careful. Because Robert had already been here. He competed in Season 5 and got all the way to 5th place before his body stopped him. Chest pains, an ambulance, an emergency room, and a withdrawal from the competition on medical advice. It turned out to be a false alarm. Instantly turned out to be the end of his run. So Ramsay brought him back in season 6, a 17th chef added after the first dinner service. A second chance almost nobody gets on this show. And then came the scallops. Robert sent them to the pass and they were nowhere near good enough. And when Ramsay told him so, Robert did not take it. He came back at him and the two of them went at each other in front of the entire kitchen until Ramsay closed it down by calling him to his face an expletive idiot. Here is the part that stings. Robert was good, genuinely good, good enough to be brought back, good enough to go deep twice. He lasted until after the 7th service, but the argument is what everybody replays. Number 2, Giovanni Filipponi, Season 5. 37, an executive chef out of Destin, Florida, and half of the most watched confrontation this show has ever produced. It started with 2 plates. The first came up raw. The second came up with a drumstick on it that looked like somebody had already been eating it. 2 chances, both gone, and Ramsay reached for a name. He called Giovanni a word that Fox had to bleep, and that everybody watching understood perfectly. And Giovanni did what almost nobody does. He said it back. He told Ramsay flat out that he was not one. That is when Gordon Ramsay crossed the kitchen, all the way across, past his own team, until there was nothing between them at all, and repeated it directly into Giovanni's face from about 2 inches away. 2 grown men, nose to nose, screaming, in a working restaurant, with Ramsay following him around the line as he tried to get away from it. Giovanni said afterwards that no chef had come that close to him in his entire life, and that Ramsay did not have to get 2 inches from his face to make the point. He was eliminated the same night, and the clip has since been watched tens of millions of times. Number 1, Joseph Tinelli, Season 6. 27, a sous chef from Massapequa Park, New York, and a United States Marine. This is the exit that every single one of these countdowns is really about. Joseph did not last long enough to be a villain. 2 services, that was it. But on his second elimination night, he did something the show had never seen. Asked to nominate 2 chefs for elimination, he named 2 people for no reason he could actually articulate. And when Ramsay pushed him on it, Joseph pushed back. Then it escalated, fast. The smart answers turned into insults. And then Joseph stepped down off the elimination podium, walked toward Gordon Ramsay, and asked him to take it outside, into the parking lot. He pulled the chef's jacket off his back and threw it on the floor of Hell's Kitchen. Security moved in. Ramsay did not back up an inch, and Joseph left the way he came, flipping off the entire room on his way to the door, stumbling on the step as he went, while Ramsay calmly kicked the discarded jacket out of his way and carried on with the elimination. 15th place, 2 services, and more than 15 years later, still the single most infamous walkout in the history of Hell's Kitchen. So that is the list. 10 chefs who decided in the middle of the hardest service of their lives that the smart move was to take a swing at Gordon Ramsay. Not one of them won. Some got walked out by security, some threw the jacket down themselves, and every single one of them found out the same thing in about 4 seconds. Ramsay does not lose these. He has spent his entire career in rooms louder and meaner than that one, and the shouting is not the punishment. The shouting means he still thinks you are worth it. Silence is the punishment. Which one of these do you think was the worst decision? Was it Joseph asking a man to step outside on national television? Or was it Giovanni going nose to nose over a chewed drumstick? Tell us in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, subscribe because we are going through every single meltdown, ejection, and walkout this kitchen has ever produced.